when it comes to the Alien franchise, Sigourney Weaver's character Ellen Ripley is still seen as a mainstay of the series, and may we add, rightfully so to this very day. After all, there's no denying that Lieutenant First Class Ellen Louise Ripley, besides being a civilian advisor to the United States Colonial Marine Corps, was also one of the most experienced individuals known to have survived encounters with the alien species. Well, in today's video, we are not only going to explore the main protagonist of the Alien franchise, but also take a look at her family tree. But before we get into the video, we do have one very small request. If you enjoy our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Now, let's begin. Ellen Ripley. Ellen started as a co-pilot with the U.S. Merchant Navy aboard Zelazny, after which she was assigned as a warrant officer with Weyland-Yutani Corporation's commercial freight operations. She was appointed to serve aboard the USCSS Nostromo, and it was during the vessel's fateful final voyage in the year 2122 when the Nostromo crew encountered an alien that came on board the freighter inadvertently from LV-426. The xenomorph led to the death of the remaining crew members of Nostromo, and, adding to this, the very destruction of the ship. It is fitting to state that Ellen's encounter with the alien essentially changed the very trajectory of her life. Ellen was later given the rank of Lieutenant First Class and also appointed as a civilian advisor to the Colonial Marines post, which she would go on to have many more encounters with the xenomorphs over the years, before finally honorably choosing to end her own life in Fiorina 161 to bring an end to the alien nuisance once and for all. So, given the terrifying events that the xenomorphs had Ellen exposed to, it goes without saying that her personality justifiably altered over time. With that being said, Ellen continued to remain an honorable, level-headed, and headstrong individual all throughout. While the incident on board the Nostromo did leave Ellen traumatized for obvious reasons, and for a very long time, may we add, it was the ultimate rejection of her story upon coming back to Earth that impacted her thoroughly. Of course, she came back to LV-426 to confront the creatures once again, and while the mission went horribly wrong, Ellen's previous encounter with the alien aided her in maintaining a certain level of calm that some of the toughest colonial marines, such as Private First Class William L. Hudson, for example, could not match up to Ellen's ability to make adept decisions, even under extreme levels of stress, made her become a significant part of all the tactical decisions. And her tales of bravery certainly need no introduction at the end of the day. Ellen's exploits secured an established position among groups and individuals who had to deal with the xenomorphs even centuries after her death. Alex, Ellen's husband. Truth be told, we have very limited information on Alex. Apparently, Ellen had completed her master's in engineering from New York Aeronautics University, after which she was serving with the U.S. Merchant Navy on board Zelazny. It is there that she not only acted as a co-pilot, but also crossed paths with Alex. One thing led to another, and Ellen ended up marrying Alex. And that's not all. The duo eventually also had their first child together. And by this, we are referring to Amanda. Alex ultimately abandoned Ellen and his biological daughter when Amanda was only 3 years old, and moving forward, he had no further contact with either of them. Paul Carter, Ellen's second husband. Say hello to the second husband of Ellen and the stepfather to Amanda. Ellen married Paul sometime after Alex left her and Amanda, and it is fitting to state that the relationship was just as chaotic as her previous marriage. Besides the relationship being utterly devoid of love, it was also primarily one-sided. Most of the time, Ellen was the one who was providing for the family, while Paul struggled to retain jobs. In due course, Paul began overburdening Ellen and Amanda by starting to drink, which of course got him fired from jobs and into a never-ending argument with his wife. Paul also got into frequent trouble with the police, and this naturally had a terrible impact on Amanda. Furthermore, his self-destructive nature and, dare we disregard, alcoholism led Amanda to develop a certain distance from him. With Ellen leaving Amanda under the care of Paul during her fateful voyage out into space, things took a turn for the worse, and Amanda felt more estranged from her stepfather. Then, there came a time when Paul hurt his back during a cargo loading accident, and that put him out of the action completely. During one of the hearings, Paul's claims about the loader being faulty and accountable for his injury were argued against by an accusation that he was under the influence of alcohol while working, and, therefore, he was denied any form of compensation. Amanda started having regular fights with Paul, leading her to run away from home several times. After Amanda turned 18, she not only moved out of Paul's apartment, but also out of his custody, and she simply refused to be in touch with her stepfather, at all. Amanda Ripley McLaren, Ellen's daughter. Amanda bore traits similar to her mother's in more ways than one. For starters, she was as determined as Ellen, and underneath that unswerving exterior, she bore unsettled grief and pain in interminable amounts, especially in regard to her mother's abrupt disappearance from her life. Call it a desire for closure or, whatever you'd like. But this is what made her travel to Sevastopol so as to find out what really happened to her mother. While it goes without saying that she found herself in the midst of a total nightmare that unfolded in Sevastopol, she retained her composure and managed to fight the threats. Also, it was Amanda's will to survive. And adding to this, her tireless attempts to help others, as well as save the station. That certainly depicts how courageous she truly was. It is true that, like Ellen, Amanda was highly terrified and also shocked to discover the xenomorphs. But with time, she became more assertive and bold in her approach, eventually all set to scout alone in areas, in spite of being aware of the threat that stalked her. At some point in her life, Amanda married and took the name McLaren, and it is also reported that she had no children from the marriage. Furthermore, Amanda reportedly died at the age of 66 on the 23rd of December, 2178 from cancer. But then, it was revealed that the whole thing was just a setup intended to keep her safe while she remained in cryosleep until a cure for cancer could be discovered. Alan Decker, descendant. Not many know this, but Decker was actually an empath who possessed low-level telepathic abilities. It is believed that he inherited this special talent genetically, as his father too had the same abilities. Decker also descended from Ellen Ripley, and adding to this, Amanda Ripley McLaren as well. But he wasn't aware of this until he attained adulthood. The solitary fact that Decker was related to the Ripleys made him a prime target of the xenomorphs on the planet New Galveston. It was more like the xenomorphs could sense that Decker was related to Ellen Ripley. I mean, no wonder the bestial creatures sought revenge against him. Also, unknown to Decker, he had inadvertently formed a brief connection with a horde of xenomorphs on his previous visit to New Galveston. Ripley 8 clone. Ripley 8, also known as number 8 to be more precise, happens to be the 8th and the first fully successful clone that was a creation of the United States military on board the classified medical research vessel USM Auriga after 7 failures and repeated refinements of the procedure. Actually though, truth be told, Ripley 8 was nothing more than a byproduct of the covert USM project to, recreate the xenomorph XX121 species. And Dr. Mason Wren, who was heading the program, chose to keep her alive for, further studying purposes. Now, Ripley 8 might look superficially human, given her perfect creation, but the cross-contamination of DNA between her and the xenomorph inside her gave her plenty of xenomorph characteristics. To begin with, she was not human, nor was she alien, but she was something right in between, possessing metallic green-black fingernails for starters. Next comes her physical prowess, which was impeccable, and she never really got exhausted. Then, of course, comes the inhuman strength, which made her capable of rending open even the toughest of steel plates using just her bare hands. However, the most visible similarity between Ripley 8 and the xenomorph was the acidic blood, which was surprisingly red in color, just like, regular human blood. The acidic blood of Ripley 8 was far less potent than the xenomorphs, but it could still corrode metal and, other materials at the end of the day. Marvelous verdict. Well, with this, we finally come to the end of our video here. So, what are your thoughts about Ellen Ripley's family tree? Who's your favorite? Oh, come on, don't tell us it's Ellen Ripley herself. Just kidding, of course you can. We would love to know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Please do leave a thumbs up and stay tuned with us, as we promise to come back with more exciting content. Till then, goodbye, and thanks for watching. Have a nice one.